Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our late night political discussion. And we are going to have a candid discussion about the errors that William Samuel Ruto has actually made and that are making him to look so bad in Africa. So, William Samuel Ruto started like a gentleman. He actually raised his stature and he was actually being seen as an Africa leader, as an Africa spokesman. And actually, there are things that actually raised the stature of William Samuel Ruto. For example, William Samuel Ruto, after taking power, he came up and told African leaders that we do not need a dollar for African nations to trade. And he told the African nations that it is time we need to use our own money for us to trade because there is no cause for us to change our money to a dollar and then use that dollar to trade across Africa. And that actually was perceived very well by many African nations. And that made him to look as a Pan-African person. At the same time, William Samuel Ruto talked about African leaders being misused whenever they are being put in a pass, whenever they go to the Western nations. And he told the Western powers that they need to respect Africa. They do not need to order African leaders. And that actually echoed very well with African leaders. And most of African leaders actually upheld William Samuel Ruto. At the same time, William Ruto ran as a crusader of unifying Africa. And he said that in Africa, we need one visa. We don't need to have borders for us to trade. We need to remove the borders which were actually put by the colonial masters. And hence, we need to do away with the visa, or at most, we have one visa which enable any Africa person to move from one state to the other so that we can trade. And he added that we need to have an African bank where we actually go to borrow resources for development within African nations. And that made William Samuel Ruto to be perceived very well. But William Samuel Ruto has made three blunders, and these three blunders are actually making William Samuel Ruto to look bad. One of the blunder is to come up and to be against the military rules in the Sahel region, in the countries like Niger, where William Samuel Ruto actually condemned the military rules without knowing that those coups which were done by the military individuals actually were backed by the citizens of those countries because we had leaders who were the puppet of the West. So when William Samoei Ruto came against those juntas, it made him to look so bad. Another thing that William Samoei Ruto has actually done, and he now looks as a puppet of the Western nation, is by taking the Kenyan military to Haiti and being helped by United States of America. And this made William Samoei Ruto to be actually praised by the President of United States of America, Joe Biden. And that has actually made most of the African people to perceive William Samoei Ruto as a man of the Western world. Another thing that William Samoei Ruto has done, and it is making it to look bad, is by welcoming most of the Western leaders to Kenya. And that has actually earned him a bad image. And lastly, William Samoei Ruto has made another blunder by actually taking sides in the Middle East war, which is the war between Israel and the Palestinians, or Israel and Hamas. Because William Samoei Ruto stood with Israel, and the chairman of AU stood with the Palestinians, because very many African nations, they understand the fight of the colonial time. And that's why many leaders in Africa, they actually stand with the Palestinians. They want the Palestinians to be made to be independent. And because William Samoei Ruto took that side, it is making to look bad. And even in Kenya, you will find that the leader of opposition has actually stood with the Palestinians, and what many people perceive that it is the right thing to do. And that's why William Samoei Ruto is trying to back off with his stand. And that's why when he was being interviewed, he said that both the Israelites and the Hamas, that they are violating human rights. But already, William Samoei Ruto took side by standing with Israel. I don't know what's your take. What are other blunders that William Samoei Ruto has done, and it's making him to look bad? Please drop your comment in the comment section below. And if this is your first time to pump into this YouTube channel, I request you kindly to take a minute or two and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Give this video thumbs up. Share the video to your friends. And if your friends are lovers of politics, then request them to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And whenever you subscribe to our YouTube channel, always hit the notification bell, because once you hit the notification bell, you actually make YouTube to notify you whenever we upload any political content. And with that, I say thank you. And lastly, I also thanks those who have subscribed to this YouTube channel, because you always give us the inspiration to continue coming up with this kind of political analysis. And with that, I say thank you, and may God bless you abundantly until we meet in our next political conversation.